Councilman Najarian, I thought your comments last week were ill-informed, misguided, and ultimately condescending and disrespectful to the citizens of Glendale, like myself, who want a hydrocarbon-free energy source for our city. We realize reliability is an issue, and we don't look to compromise reliability. I want to start with go into my comments here. I want to address the question of GWP's plans to sell excess power to other utilities, which still seems to be an area of contention. In last week's staff report, GWP said that quote, the project does not rely on or contemplate any sales of excess power other than to other entities, unquote. Mr. Zern was very emphatic about this in his oral arguments. But there's a problem here. The problem is that the claim is inconsistent with how the 250 megawatt option was initially conceived. It also can't be reconciled with the claim that the utility rates won't go up as a result of the project. Let's first look at the history. The integrated resource plan that GWP put together in 2015 said quite clearly that the 250 megawatt proposal was, quote, relies heavily on market sales, unquote. Not just that market sales are a possible option that could be considered, but they are market sales that are necessary for the project to be penciled out. I went back to clips from some of the older council meetings to find out more, and a consultant recommended that GWP find buyers up front to enter into power purchase agreements to take off excess power. And a different consultant said that, and again I'll quote here, quote, you only need about 200 megawatts to actually meet your load requirements. The others would be sold down, unquote. And I found that staff report from August 2014, and I found another staff report from 2014 which talks about the cost of the bonds to pay for the project. In that document, GWP says, again I'll quote, a repowered Grayson should create opportunities for new off-system revenues which would mitigate any rate impact caused by the debt service on the bonds, unquote. The thought that the process is pretty clear when you look at all this. The idea was to build a big plant which can serve as a giant insurance policy against transmission lines going down, but because it would be so expensive, the only way to keep rates from skyrocketing would be to sell excess power that it throws off. Or maybe it was oversized because it looked like a good revenue generator for the city. Whatever the motivation, the problem is that between then and now, the market has changed. It is no longer possible to reliably sell excess gas power. I'm curious to what extent GWP followed the advice of its consultants and looked for buyers but came up short. In any case, once they were challenged on this point, they changed their story. Now they say they're no longer contemplating selling power. But then how do they keep rates low? The whole thing strains credulity. I'm happy to compile a dossier of statements and clips documenting the changing narrative if council wishes.